know, baby. Don't you know, you know it's kinda in SFW.
So, you might be wondering what all the hubbub is about these Game Freak leaks. Well, we've got it right here. As you can see, apparently there was a massive Game Freak leak and a bunch of Pokemon stuff came out. From official map editor tools of the older games to information about the next set of games. Here's some of what I've seen so far that I think is neat. First one is about the next gen game set. So Gold and Silver and Crystal remakes for the Switch. So apparently we'll be migrating the handhelds over to the Switch, so that's neat. Direct sequels to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee Adventure or something like that. Wooper and Togepi are the mascots. So they're going to get there. So Let's Go Wooper and Let's Go Togepi. Okay, all right. Is a Kanto post game. There is a new Pokeball Plus accessory based on GS Ball that has Celebi inside when you connect it to the games. That's neat. You get a Wooper or a Togepi egg from the elm that's about to hatch. That's strange. It's about to hatch and it becomes your partner. In game trades for Hyusian. Hyusian and Galarian and Paldean forms, but the evolutions from Cursola and are transfer only from home or on the go. So that one's a little confusing for me because it talks about the different region monster limitations apparently. So you have to take that from where it comes from. Go Park has moved from Fuchsia City to replace Johto's Safari Zone. Gameplay is similar to the original Let's Go games, and Awakened Values return. Big new Pokemon anime-like mechanic where you can play Amy-like maybe? I'm not sure. I thought that was anime. You can play your Pokemon, not just your partner. Big in-game rewards for transferring Pokemon from original Let's Go games. You play as new trainer. All right, that's neat. And you have a new rival. So that's finally, right? Your partner Pokemon can find apricorns and to give to Kurt to make new Pokeballs. Cool. The gold and silver leaf can power up Wooper and Togepi when they hold it. So this is just a little bit of what's going on with the leaks and stuff like that. We've got a lot to go through, and I just wanted to introduce you to what these leaks actually are. We're going to have things that are a little strange, might be too soft a word, but this is all part of the Pokemon myth, all right? The mythos of Pokemon that's basically being spread around at the moment. There are other leaks pertaining to other games, but this video is about the Pokemon stuff. So as you can see, we have some Sprite Leaks. Some of these are unseen before ones. These are ones that maybe didn't make it through or maybe did make it through. And again, there are also things that are mixed in here, right? Okay, so we need to remember that there are some trolls out there that may have mingled in things with the leak that aren't necessarily from Game Freak themselves. So what you're seeing here, there's a bunch of characters that we probably have not seen in these particular forms or color palettes, but there are also ones we have seen before. Right now, you're looking down here at Trico. You can see the Trico didn't change too much from concept, but you've got Torchic, and Torchic apparently had weird little ears, and then there was a bunny with an inner tube. It's just a bunny with an inner tube. I don't know what it is, and there's just a tornado, apparently. You see that one over there, the little green tornado. It's like third row from the bottom all the way. Oh, well, look, there's like a mountain retrieval Beethoven dog. That's just a dog. That's just a dog, Game Freak. That's just a dog. That may have been one of the troll ones. I don't know, but that's just a dog. That's not even like a dog with a different color palette. That's just a dog. So you can see there's some more of them over here. We got the Gen 4 beta sprites. We have the Game Freak Terror Leak, that kind of thing. So you can see right here what they were up to with some of the early concepts. I am glad that they changed the screen Pokemon. I think it was a Pokédex Pokemon. I'm glad that got shifted a little bit there. And you know, Darkrai looks much better without the no floaty background. Like he looks like a little skid mark. You see that all the way up there is Darkrai. Looks like a skid mark all the way there on the bottom. I'm glad they kept with the white and the flowy parts. That way it doesn't just look like a skid mark. And yeah, the animations look pretty clean on these things. So this is what you're dealing with, though. This is all part of the leaks that are coming out right now. There are also character profiles from Gen 5. Now, this is about Skyla, okay? And what's funny about this is they are explaining how the character is supposed to behave and act. And so they're going on, they're saying most of the gym trainers are men, many are rough because of the harshness of their work, but they are honest in front of her, being Skyla, the trainer. And there is there's another gym leader, I guess, named Aneki that she's admiring so much so, and so the Eastern power is very strong since they are originally immigrants and this sort of thing. This is Skyla's story, by the way. This isn't a new character, to my knowledge. It's not a new character. But what gets me is, so they wanted to go down here. Skin is brown skin, and she is slim, but only the chest is large. And they wanted her based off of Isabella Fontana and Jennifer Lopez. So that's how they do this, is they go out and they find like actual people and base the physical characteristics off of the characters off of these people. And so I think it's clever to just not like have to pull this stuff out of nowhere, you know. But while we have these creations out here, we also have these creations that have gotten out. And as this poster right here, at Paul Felix Kelly, that is right here, feel free to follow them. And what Kelly is saying here is that the Pokemon resale market is going to crash and burn soon, and that's pretty true. Having these available now, you can create pristine condition, first edition box sets of the box in the box Pokemon. You've just a little bit with your there's the shrink wrap machines you can buy off of Amazon right now. And you've got one that was like, oh, this one survived. Well, we found this in a storage unit that had been unoccupied for 20 years. And it's like, I'm sure that's what happened. You bet, buddy. But that's what we're dealing with now. You take a look here, you got the, and these are Japanese edition at that. So, like, you can even jack the prices up even higher now if you're offering, like, first edition unopened in the box. And how are they going to know? Who's going to know? You can go ahead and get the same kind of card stock that made the box itself. So when you print this stuff out on it, there's no way to know. There really isn't. You can carbon date the paper, I guess, but I mean, for a Game Boy Advance game, you know? Certificate of authenticity, what are you doing? They bought it at Walmart. You want the Walmart receipt from 20 years ago? That's asking a lot. So that's what we're looking at, is you're going to see the Pokemon game resale market completely reshaped by these leaks. These are just two of the ones that got out. There's plenty more that came out with these. So be prepared is all I can say. You know, if you're not buying it now, you probably ought to. Check out Sendico, Sendico, Sendico. This is a Japanese eBay, well, it's not Craigslist over there, but like a Yahoo Marketplace and a few other ones that like aggregate listings of Japanese technology, Japanese pop culture items, stuff like that. And you can, you know, have them shipped to the US. So you probably ought to look into that if you want any of this stuff. If you want this, you know, if you want Japanese issue Pokemon stuff before, you know, the market decides to collapse on itself after these. Probably now's a good time to jump on that. And speaking of which, if you're out there downloading ROMs, expect to find whole new Pokemon games now that the original map editor is out there free to the wild. That's right, you don't have to just take a guess at the Pokemon maps anymore. You just make them right in the native map editor itself. So good luck trying to tell the difference when you're playing your ROM and all of a sudden these Pokemon that have no business being in that particular generation start showing up because somebody decided to make their own Pokemon game and label it an original. So there you go. Good luck. Now, we can confirm too, Central Leaks is out here. Again, there's some things that are fishy back and forth, so I tried to parse through what Central was posting because some of it was troll stuff that got out and they ended up reposting it. So, from what I can tell, this is legit that the Pokemon Gaia, that may not be the final name for it, but this is the one that will apparently either accompany the Switch 2, or if it will, it may perhaps simply just be one of the final Switch 1 releases before it, before the console evolves, if you will, into the next stage. So there you have it. They have at least been testing the latest Pokemon game on Switch. So like I said, they're migrating the handhelds over to the Switch. Apparently they're migrating the whole game itself now. So that's kind of neat. Among these leaks were also some internal dialogue with the game's creative department. So here we have Iwao, Omori, Sugimori, Matsuyama, Sugimori, and it's all loose here. So Iwao says, I'm slightly concerned because even in Ikaku, Zygarde's normal form appears. The placement of its appearance worries me a bit. Now, Omori replies with, it might be better to time it and introduce Mega Zygarde or something similar later on. Sugimori comes in and says, that would be better. But you have Matsumiya. Yeah, that's how you say it. Matsumiya, my apologies. Matsumiya. And he says, I feel like they're just choosing things based on color. How can we create synergy with the surprise element of Mega Evolutions in the game and the anime? And Sugimori says this. He says, I'd like to tell them to push back as much as possible regarding Zygarde, bringing Zygarde in later, rather. Rather than saying, don't use that Pokemon at all, we should focus on timing and consistency in their appearances. And so what they're talking about is that the anime for, I believe it's Scarlet and Violet, I think these are the ones that they're talking about here. And so what happened is that Zygarde apparently was going to show up in that anime, and apparently Zygarde's not supposed to show up until the next generation of Pokemon. So they were concerned about revealing this character so soon. And we have Matsumiya, and he comes in again. He says, since we removed the island hopping aspect, there's no more worried about cannibalization. And what they mean is like they're mimicking each other, I guess. The games are kind of feeding off of each other because they're being co-developed at the same time, or, simul-developed, maybe. I'm not sure how you word it. But Sugimori is kind of upset that the school element has been removed here, and so they kind of revisit that back as saying, like, maybe we can find a way to work it in there. So it looks like there'll be some type of schoolboy school, maybe a Pokemon school aspect to this, that you'll be going around and not just competing, I guess, with Pokemon, but perhaps you're competing on behalf of your school, and you're sort of going around as a tournament, perhaps, in a tournament. Perhaps you can team up with other trainers and make like a Pokemon volleyball team or something. Who knows? But that's what they're going on about here. And of course, Gaia, they're talking like it has a similar atmosphere. We can't keep skipping over Violet. I believe that's what it is Scarlet and Violet. I could be wrong. You'll have to let me know in the comments below, but that's my best guess of what Titan is. And so there's some discarded ones. And the reason why I isolated these guys instead of the other ones that Centro was posting is that the Stardog. I just like the Stardog. I like Stardog. They should have gone with Stardog. Let me know down below. Comment Stardog if you've made it this far in the video, okay? It's Stardog below, all right? Maybe you know what? They discarded it. Maybe we'll make Stardog part of our mascot system, huh? We'll have Stardog. We'll just do some redesigning so that way we're not one-to-oneing Pokemon's design. But I like this, like, star head leg thing. That's kind of fun. I like that. Maybe we'll do that. Too bad they gave up on Stardog. We love you, Stardog. Remember, comment below if you love Stardog. But here we are. Now we're back to the Gen 3 starters concept art. Now, the only thing I really wanted to add to this is that we never saw the return of the bunny with the inflated tube situation. That didn't show up anywhere else. At least I never saw that Pokemon show up anywhere else. it seems to have the similar ear tip things that Pulse and Minos might, plus and minus the little Pikachu copies that are not Pikachu. But it just kind of has that color coded ear tips. I think is a plus, plusy, something like that. It's a little blue bunny that has electric powers. But we just didn't see that character return. So and that is definitely not Mudkip. So, but Trico didn't change at all. Trico he got a piece of grass. That's all that happened for him in the anime. But Trico didn't change. I guess you just can't mess with perfection, right? I'm sorry, I always choose the fire types, but I admire the greens, the plant types. Those are always cool. But that brings us to the mythos that was leaked, okay? And that's what was the thumbnail was all about. So I appreciate you hanging around for this, and here we go. So just a reminder, right? We heard stories in here about what was going on with Octillery and O.R.C.A and Rapidash, Lapras, Sackhoff, and TYPHLOSION. What needs to be remembered about all this is that even in the Sinnoh folklore, even way back then, they talked about humans marrying Pokemon. That's right. This isn't new mythos. It's just stuff that's either tucked into the back of the game, you only talk to a certain NPC and get this information from, or it's just like world building stuff that you can draw on as a script writer for character dialogue, I guess. I'm not sure. But it does bring us to these wonderful stories that they created. And I'm not going to read you these whole bedtime stories because I don't know. But I just want to urge you that this is the NSFW part that we were talking about at the beginning of the video. And while things are not graphic here, it certainly paints quite a picture in your head of what went on. So here we have it. There was a time when the boundary between Pokemon and humans was blurred. Blurred lines, right? Robin Thicke, remember that? In a coastal village, there was a man. One day, as he was walking along the shore, he found a female Octillery washed up on the beach. The man had relations with the Octillery and then threw it back into the sea. The next day, he went to the same spot and found the same Octillery again. He once more had relations with it and threw it back into the sea. Right back into the sea. Cool. Just like that. And, but one night, after several days had passed, the man had a dream, and in that dream, the Octillery that he had relations with spoke and said to him, I cannot come to you, but I will deliver our child to you. It is our child, yours and mine. The next morning, the man went to the place where he had met the Octillery, and there he found a boy. The man took the boy home and raised him. Time passed, the boy grew into a young man, and the father passed away. The young man was always lonely, though. I wonder why. But just how this kid's story is, he grows up, he beats the heck out of an Ursaring, or Ursaring, however you want to call it, Ursaring, and he ends up strangling another one to death with his bare hands, and also being strangled to death by the bear itself, by the bear Pokemon itself, by the Ursaring itself. How you like that? You know, your dad just screws an Octillery, you're born, and then you strangle a giant bear Pokemon to death, and you die too. What a life. What a life, man. Like this is like, and the reason why I know this is true is because there are a lot of mythos around octopus, squid, that kind of thing in Japan. Because again, it's an island nation, a lot of fishing, that kind of thing. So I don't recall one particularly about a man boinking a sea creature and then a human child coming out of that. But hey, it's Pokemon, so, you know. And then there was TYPHLOSION, okay? And this story is considerably longer, okay? And what the setup is a young girl becomes lost. It's not exactly specified how young or old this woman is, but she becomes lost in the forest, and a man takes her into his domicile for the night because it is too late for her to be led back to her village because the walk would be midnight before they arrived. So he brought her home, they ate some green fruit, and they fell asleep. When she woke up, she was holding a child in her arms. Okay? Now, if you're reading the text on screen, you're going to see the name Bakufan. Okay? Bakufan. Bakufun, that sort of thing. This is what Typhlosion's name is in these notes. And I'm just gonna like kind of cut you off in a brief here, just brief it up real quick, okay? And so here's what it is. As the snow began to fall, the two of them slept in the depths of the deepening hole. That's where it's like a den. It's like their home. There was plenty of food, and she woke up every now and then to eat and then sleep again. One day, the girl woke up to find the child in her arms, right? So there it is. And after several days and nights had passed, the girl woke up to Bakufun, which is, Typhlosion. And Typhlosion said to her, he says, "Your father is looking for you, but you are my wife, and I cannot give you back. I have to fight him." Okay? All right. Well, it gets worse, okay? So what happened is that they get into it, and of course the father is able to overwhelm Typhlosion and end him. The girl is depressed. She has to live in a hut with her parents on the outskirts of town because she has a half human, half Typhlosion child. And so the villagers torture them anyway. They're not like physically torture them, but like emotionally torture them. Emotionally torture them, excuse me. Get a little gassy when I'm talking about bestiality, apparently. I'm sorry. This is out there, okay? This is even, I wouldn't say as out as the Octillery one, but this is pretty out there. And so the villagers were like, we're putting Tyrannosaurus skins on them, like the furs and stuff. Now, I think what they're trying to talk about are Typhlosion, but again, they don't use Bakufan, so it could be another Pokemon that they're referring to that I just don't know the name of that has Tyrannosaurus Rex qualities, but also fur. I'm not sure. You'll have to let me know down below what Pokemon that could be, but apparently what happened is that even though her parents tried to explain it to the villagers, the people in the village would not listen. On the contrary, they became even more amused now understanding the story and covered the girl and her child in the furs. The girl and the child then howled loudly and disappeared into the depths of the forest. The two never returned. And that's how people found out that Typhlosion is half human. That's real. Okay, that's real. That is a real thing that someone at Game Freak had to come up with. All right, maybe didn't have to. Maybe they were just like, "I got this great thing I've been working on for a long time, guys. Let me surprise you." And they did it. And that may not have found its way into any official publication, but as far as like the lore of Typhlosion goes, apparently that's what happened. That a bunch of people were not alive by this, were killed by this situation. A Typhlosion was killed because of this situation, and the remaining populace of that whole event were tortured emotionally and teased, taunted physically until they ran away into the forest and never returned. Now, if you're getting like European vibes off of this and stuff like that, feel free. I imagine what they were trying to do here was like sort of create this dark folklore around Pokemon that like, whoa, a long time ago we didn't quite understand them, so we were doing very strange things. And it falls in line with like, I don't know if you've realized this or not, but there's no veganism in Pokemon. Where's the meat coming from? Even if there was, most of the vegetables are alive too. So, you having an oddish salad, are you? A Kingler sandwich with some cold Pepsi? It's one of those questions you're not supposed to ask, right? And this is another one, like, where did the Pokemon come from? Maybe we don't want to know. Maybe you just don't need to know where that came from. It's just an animal in the wild, and one day it showed up close enough to be captured in a Pokeball. The end. I think I think that's what we need to start accepting, is that, like, it showed up one day. Nobody knew how or why, and they were all like, wow. And we go, yeah, that's enough. Please, no more. Don't tell me how it kidnapped a child and forced it to have its baby. I just, wow. Wowee. So here we go. We've got the notice and apology regarding the leak of personal information due to unauthorized access. And this is from Game Freak's internal conversations. Someone's been very kind to translate this to English, and basically what it's explaining is that the break-in allowed personal information of the employees to become public, and they have now already resecured everything. They have tested it to make sure that it is secure against any more blocks. But one of the things that they are letting you know is that your information's out there now. If you're an employee of Game Freak, your information is out on the web, available everywhere. So they are letting you know that if you have anything happen to you, that they're here to help. They're going to take care of it for you. So you got to give them props where it's due. Despite all the weird things they invented about Typhlosion and the other Pokemon, they're at least willing to take care of their employees now that this information has been made publicly available. And, you know, most likely more personal information is out there that they're not, that they're not making known. That way nobody knows how to look for it, right? You can't tell all you know, because then people know to look for it. So, but even so, there's enough information here to go out there and really cause these people some economic trouble. So if you are seeing Game Freak employee information going around, I don't like to ask that people report things, because that gets out of hand really quick. People start becoming hall monitors. But if you start seeing Game Freak employee information start going around, please consider reporting it to whatever platform you're on. These people did not do anything to deserve this whatsoever. Even though these stories are weird and way out of line, they are not evil. They're just people like you and me, and they don't deserve to have their information spread across the internet. These leaks, however, they're great. They really open the eyes of what's going on inside of what Pokemon is at its bare bones. But not the information on the employees. That's not necessary. I don't know, guys. You'll have to let me know what you think down below. And as always, guys, good luck out there. Oh, and by the way, if you see an Octillery on the side of the road or like on the beach, just leave it there, okay? Please, for the love of God, just...